Hey everyone, slightly different video for everyone tonight. I've had a few people messaging me and asking about the lighting that I've got in my display room, so I thought I'd do a quick video just to show everyone what I did, because it was actually very cost effective and saved me a lot of money. I've got 27 Detolfs that are combined. Check out PJ's Detolfs and displays if you want some more information on how those are being combined together. But essentially I've got individual Detolf shelves that are combined into one. So you can see behind me here, for example, this row of primes is actually 4 Detolf shelves joined together. So 27 in total, quite a task to light. I had a professional electrician come in to give me a quote on doing all the wiring up in the LEDs, and it was ranging from about 1800 quid to 3 grand. I had 2 quotes done, and that was for, you know, quite a good, it would have been a good setup, a single control unit controlled from mobile phone, different lighting, different coloured LEDs, etc. But I felt that was overkill for what I wanted. I wanted to have a fairly clean display. I probably wasn't going to use colours because I felt it brings the light out on the machines and the toys a lot better if it's a single kind of white light. So I thought I'd give it a shot myself and did a bit of research. Not something I've ever tackled before. I've got no electrical background or experience, so it was a little bit daunting. But after a bit of research and a very small amount of trial and error, I was quite confident that I could actually do it myself, and it ended up costing me, certainly from a money perspective, less than 150 quid to do the whole setup. And then it was just the investment of time and effort to get it done. So I'm gonna kind of talk you through what I did, and if anybody does have any questions or wants to PM me anything, then by all means please feel free. So I'm going to take the film off my ugly face now. Okay, so the units themselves are obviously glass shelving, and they've all got individual LED light strips on each layer, and the fact that I haven't got any cards or backgrounds or anything obscuring the light does mean that the light displays through them really well. And what I opted for, I tried a combination of lighting at the front of the shelving, in the middle of the shelving, and at the back of the shelving, and I just found that the front seemed to provide the best look aesthetically because all the bots were lit up. If I had the lighting either in the middle or towards the back, what I was finding was that the fronts of the bots towards the front of the cabinet were dark, and I was losing some of that visual impact. However, I needed some kind of diffuser because just having the strip of LEDs at the front meant that they were probably too bright. So this is where a bit of good luck came in. These Detolf units, as they're constructed, if you look here for example, they have a bit of plastic which holds the individual glass slats into place. And because I've obviously combined these units, there were a whole stack of these spare from the Detolfs that I didn't use. And this is one of those plastic runners, which coincidentally also happens to be the exact right size to fit in one of these units. I have got a set of 3 combined where I had to cut these, and it's really simple to do. It was just a quick hacksaw job and took a couple of seconds to do that. The good thing about these plastic tracks, hopefully you can see that from the video, is that they've actually got a couple of tracks built into them. That's obviously where the glass panels slot in. And this particular one here, you can see there's a wider one and a slightly thinner one here. So this wider one is 1 centimetre wide, and that's the perfect width for a strip of LEDs to fit in. And that's essentially what I've done. I've used the LED strips and fed it through that track. The LEDs that I've used have got stickiness on the back of them, but as with a lot of LEDs, those sticky bits don't last particularly well. So the good thing about that track is that even when the LED stops sticking, it's actually supported in there, so it doesn't drop, which is really good. The next thing that I had to do was a little bit of cabling. So I'm going to show you here. We've basically got an LED strip that terminates here, and I've used a simple cable joiner which then attaches from that row into the next, which you can see connecting here. And then essentially the cable or the circuit just zigzags, so it comes from the top left on top down to this joint here, zigzags along there, and then there's a cable there coming down to the next row which zigzags along to here, and then there's a cable going down to here, and so on, and it just forms that pattern, and that's repeated in each of the 4 combined units as you go through the room. So here you can see again I've got a plastic adapter that joins onto the LED, and there's a bit of white cable that's then fed through it, and I've used just standard grey wire ties there to hold that against the pillar, and that cable runs down the length here where there's another plastic clip where it joins onto the next bit of LED strip, and that's fed through. So the actual components are basically these. I bought these Olympus LED strip lights from Amazon. I think they're about 14 quid for a pack, which is a 10 metre strip. The good thing about these is that they also come with their own individual power supply, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And you basically get a roll of LED strip like this, but with a power supply attached, which I've cut off this one because I've actually used it. And this is essentially a piece of that, just to show you what it looks like. It's not a protected LED, so it's not waterproof. It hasn't got that clear plastic coating on it, which some do. That does act as a diffuser. I obviously didn't need that because I was using the plastic runners. And it has got sticky back plastic, which is useful as well, so you can take that tape off and it is adhesive. Although I think after a while, certainly if you leave them on, the adhesive doesn't particularly stick well. These were the 2 adapters that I used. Again, a pack of these, I think I got 10 for something like $4.99 on Amazon. If you open it up, you can see that the particular adapter allows you to slot the LED straight into it. So this bit of LED, where I've cut it, literally just slots in to underneath the prongs on the cable. So I can just try and demonstrate. My big over finger is getting in the way. There we go. So I pull this open. You can see the 2 metal adapters there, and then that piece of LED just slots in underneath those 2 bits there, and then you close it over and it seals it in place. Pretty easy and straightforward. For the bits of cable that I've got running down here, I just bought a packet of 9mm bell cable, which has obviously got 2 cores on it, as you can see. And then these were the adapters that I bought for those. Again, I think these were certainly less than a tenner. I think they were $6.99 for a packet of 12 or 10. These adapters have got 2 different ends. So the first end on them is actually where you put the cable in. So up at the top here, you've got 2 little round slits where the bell cable slots in, and then this bottom one is the same as the other adapter that allows you to slot an LED strip into the back end of it, and that's essentially what you see here on the join. It's got LED going into one end of it and the cable coming out of the other. So that's essentially the makeup of the lighting. Because of the particular layout of the room, you can see that I've got 2 sets of 4 units in the middle. I've then got a set of 4 units here, a set of 4, a set of 4, another set of 4 here, and then just because of the space, it's a set of 3 at the end. So there's 7 self-contained units, and each of them has got their own individual power supply. I've got these 2 switched on for now. What I'll show you up at the top here, tucked between some Devastator legs, I've got a cable running down the back that goes to a power supply, which is plugged into the wall behind the Detolfs, and then this is a dimmer switch which I can just click on, and lo and behold, the unit switches on. And again, it is a dimmer switch, so I can choose different brightnesses depending on what I want to do. Turn it up to full because that's how the others are. And then to see this power adapter in a bit more detail, I need to do a bit of cable tidying here, as you can see, but this is basically where using those adapters I've fed a longer piece of cable so that it could reach where my plugs needed to go. I cut the power supplies off the other LEDs, and again have just joined them up to the bell cable with one of those plastic adapters I showed you earlier. Pretty straightforward and easy to do. And this is essentially what you get. It's an AC driven power bank. You've got about a meter's worth of cable with it, a connector there, and then it joins onto a dimmer switch which you can use to turn on and off. And then if I switch these 4 on, so I've just got on the plugs, and lo and behold, it lights up the rest of the display. There we go. The only thing really was the fiddliness of the connectors. Trying to get these in place once the units was in place was a bit challenging. You can see I've used cable ties on these as well. So I'm actually just using the support of the metal frame of the Detolf with a cable tie around it to hold those LED strips in place. That works for all of them except the very top row. So this top row here, there is no metal frame for them to bind against. I've had a couple of different attempts to hold these in place. The first one was just with some double-sided sticky back tape, which if I open up this unit, you can probably see a remnant of just in there, a bit of tape. Again, these lasted okay for a week or two, but then they'd start to give, and the lighting track would fall down. So I've ended up using an epoxy resin to hold them in place. It's still easy enough for me to take down should I want to remove them for any reason, or move the cabinets or anything like that. But it does mean that they're fairly well stuck up in place there. So that's it. Hopefully that's been useful and informative. I'm not going to lie, it was a challenge, but it was fun and it was very rewarding. Seeing it come together and getting the lighting in place was a great experience. It took me probably about 3 solid days, kind of 3 8-hour days to do it all. But as I say, that is from someone with no experience of doing anything like this, and it being a bit of a fiddly job with all the connectors. My fingers were aching by the end of it. I've got blisters on them, but it was worth every bit. So great. If anybody's got any other questions or anyone wants to ask me anything, then by all means drop me a note. Cheers guys.